guys, what's up? It's me, Andrea, and today it's like late at night. Like, I've had a long day. I'm not even gonna touch up this makeup because I really wanted to do a story time that I was thinking about today that I just thought was hilarious. But I do want to start off by saying something that this does take place like Andrea in high school. So I also want to make a big disclaimer that I know in my YouTube, like this is how it's gonna be like a lot. Don't want to disrespect people, and you guys know me, I'm not one to like apologize. Obviously I'm gonna change everybody's name, but like genuinely, you guys know how hard I had it in high school, and like low-key, if I respected anybody in high school, it was this person, which I'm gonna change her name to Tammy. Tammy was literally like one of the only like best friends that I had in high school that genuinely was a real best friend in my eyes. And you guys are probably wondering, like, I talked a lot about my struggles throughout the end of high school, but Tammy was actually a senior when I was a sophomore, so we were only best friends during sophomore year. And I know, like, when you think about high school, like a year, it seems like nothing, but genuinely, guys, she was literally my best friend at that time. So I didn't really we think we may get in contact a little bit through my junior year, but then that was just kind of it. We were very different people, and I feel like I was in that moment where I'm trying to find myself and I wanted to fit in so bad. But at the end of the day, we were very different. What I do want to say is I'm not trying to hate on like Tammy's life or anything like that, and like the kind of people she was or her family or anything, because like genuinely, you guys know how many story times I made, how much things I've talked about other people, and I've never made that disclaimer. But genuinely, I actually really cared about Tammy. Meanwhile, everybody else in my story times don't care about. No, it's just because the story that I was involved in, but it's not really my story and it doesn't have to do with me, but I think it would be entertaining for you guys. Basically, me and Tammy were best friends, and Tammy were very like different in ages. Like, Tammy was obviously very older than me. In high school, you know, a senior is like older than a sophomore. Tammy had a sister, and her sister was, I believe her sister was in 9th grade, or she was in 10th grade like me. But I knew her sister. I just never knew that they were sisters till one day I was at Tammy's house and she showed up and they looked identical, so I don't know why. I never put two and two together. Basically, the way I want to tell you guys this story is that me and Tammy were best friends. After school, you know, Tammy drove, we would hang out. Me and Tammy would go to the mall after school. Me and Tammy would do everything, and it was my first friend that I had after, if you guys will go way back in my channel, one of my first story times, that big incident with the bus and the school and what we went to go by. So I was finally like not grounded in a sense. My parents saw that I had this new friend and she wasn't those two other girls that got me in a lot of trouble, who I was very close to, which I was still very close to, but we all just drifted apart because when it came to those other two girls, which they're not really that, well, one of them is kind of a big part of the story, but not really. Those two girls are just like my other two cousins that I mentioned, that it was always, whenever there's a group of 3 people, 2 people are always more together. It's just, that's just how it is. I was always left out, but when it came to me and Tammy, it was literally just me and Tammy. There was nobody else. I almost saw Tammy as like, I wouldn't call her a role model, but like literally like a big sister in my eyes, because she was so experienced and I was so young and like going through everything that she had just finished going through type of deals, like whatever that takes your mind. Tammy's sister actually ended up getting pregnant, right? So I freaking loved her sister, and she ended up getting pregnant, which is, you know, I know that some people might view that as like, wow, she was too young, but at the same time, like, literally, girl is doing amazing. I didn't know right away that like Tammy's sister got pregnant, and we'll call her Heather. Ended up getting pregnant by my ex-best, so to her older sister's baby daddy. And I had no idea who her baby daddy was. We weren't really ex-best friend. People just kind of fall out in high school. Like, it just sounds so dramatic to say ex-best friend, but we were really best friends at one point, and people drift apart. Heather finally came and told us all that she was pregnant. I mean, I'm sure her family knew before I did. Obviously, it's like I was a part of the family, but you know, I finally found out. I didn't know who the baby daddy was or anything like that. Like, I was not friends with him. I didn't know him. Like, they probably told me his name and it just flew right in one ear and went out the other. So one time we're driving from Taco Bell. We would always go to Taco Bell. They lived kind of far away, but like I lived, like, I wouldn't say I lived close to the Taco Bell, but my house was closer to Taco Bell than their house, because I lived more like in the suburbs and they lived more like in the city type of deal. Heather's baby daddy's other baby mama, who was my ex-best friend's older sister, does this all make sense? She just so happened to be driving in front of us, and we were literally on the way to my house. Of all people's places, we were literally on my way to my house, and all of a sudden we just feel like a water bottle hit the car, and we're just like, what the heck? And then it took 1 water bottle to like 2 water bottles to like random things getting thrown at the car while we're driving. And then we're honking and my friend's going crazy because started going crazy, and then we're gonna call her Alex. So Alex is my ex-best friend's older sister. Alex starts throwing everything that she can out of the car. We're like trying to swerve to not let it hit the car or like break a window, and it's just going insane. till we get to where Alex, well, where my ex best friend used to live. She turns in that way and she's just screaming things out of the car, and at that moment I recognize who that is. You know, I'm in the front seat, Tammy is next to me driving, and in the back, Heather's in the back. The first thing that came into my mind was me and my ex best friend, things didn't end like we're not friends anymore, you know. She found another best friend and like kind of like she didn't low-key dump me and like our other friend, because even like me and her had a fallout too. Kind of the situation where just abruptly like all three of us just went our separate ways. But it's just, I feel like it wasn't the greatest friend group, but it was because they were my first best friends moving into this town, were those two girls. So it like low-key makes me sad that I'm not friends with them anymore, really, because like they were genuinely such good friends. But I'm gonna get a little emotional. No, but it's just sad because I recently talked to both of them, actually, because I want to talk to one of them before I reached out to the other one, because sadly something very dramatic happened in one of their lives, and you know, I wanted to reach out to be like, yo, like, I'm sorry, I know we haven't talked in a million years, but just felt in my heart that that was right. But I'm like low-key getting kind of emotional just because it's like, even though they weren't like the best friends to me, like the two girls, it's sad that I'm not friends with them anymore. It makes me even more sad that I'm not friends with Tammy anymore either, honestly. Things happen. I don't know, I just started having a bunch of flashbacks there. Just like good times, even if they weren't the best friends. I'm talking about everybody in general, the whole bubble. Even if they weren't the best of friends, that weren't the greatest of friends, and did shady things, it's like, genuinely, it's sad to feel like you lost those people, even if it's been a million years. Like, it's not like I need them in my life, but it's sad, you know? Anyways, and I said, okay, in that moment, I didn't know that the girl in the back's baby daddy was that girl's baby daddy too. In my mind, I was like, Alex is doing that because I'm not friends with her sister anymore. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. When I first met Alex in my life, I was her younger sister's best friend. I liked the way she was. Like, I think one time somebody said something to me and my best friend at the time. And like, I think somebody said something to us one time when we were like in middle school, like on something very random, and like she stood up for us and she was very like, what are you gonna do? Like, leave them alone. So she was always that person who would defend her sister, anybody she cared about. So in that moment, I was like, she has no idea that her sister was the one who kind of threw us out of the way, like, didn't care about us. And I said, is she, like, in my mind, because, like, it's so stupid to think that, but, like, in my, like, little 10th grade mind, I was like, she's doing this because I'm not friends with her sister anymore. I'm like, she's damaging a car that's not mine. Like, I didn't even want to tell my best friend that I knew her. And I look at Tammy and I said, dude, like, I'm so sorry. And Tammy just kind of looks at me and she, like, doesn't answer to me, but she looks in the back seat and she tells Heather, like, is that Alex? And then, like, I'm like, so when she looked back at Heather, I was like, oh, you know Alex? Okay, then I don't know why Alex threw that. What did you do, Heather? And then Heather was like, yeah, that's blah blah blah's baby mama too. It's crazy though, because Alex was like, I knew they were both moms and all that, or, you know, Heather was gonna be a mom, but Alex was so much older and you would think would be so much more mature, and she wasn't with the guy anymore that I could think of. I'm 1,000%, like, I'm almost 95% sure she wasn't, but I don't know, like, it's not something I could tell you guys. It wasn't my, like, it wasn't, like, my problem. And then you have Heather, who, yes, she's gonna be a mom and all this, but she's still a child in our eyes, you know. I thought I was still a child. And I kind of turned to Heather, and I was like, I had no idea. Heather was like, yeah, you know, I talked to Tammy about this before because I knew you were Alex's little sister's best friend before you were Tammy's best friend. And I was like, yeah, but we're not friends anymore. And it's crazy because the reason we didn't stop becoming friends wasn't because of drama. Like, if you honestly ask me why me and Alex's little sister, which I should give her a name, I'm just gonna call her B. I honestly don't know why me and B stopped being friends. Like, it's just something that just happened. We got other friends. I mean, I can't honestly think and tell you this is why me and B weren't friends. I'm gonna give the two best friends a name, even though the story's almost at end, but I'm gonna call Alex's little sister Brittany, and we'll call the other best friend Bethany. Me, Bethany, and Brittany were like the three musketeers. I mean, we were best friends, but you have to think, I came into this story 7th grade middle school when Brittany and Bethany were best friends, since they basically grew up in like elementary school together, if not way before that. If you ask me why me and Brittany stopped being friends, I can't give you an answer. Like, Brittany's Alex's little sister. I don't remember. I know Brittany had another best friend in her life, and she kind of left both of us, but this is where the whole like storylines kind of coincidences in a way, and I'm gonna stop this right here, and I'm gonna make a part 2 because I'm gonna explain to you why me and Bethany weren't friends and we stopped being friends, and why it has to do with Tammy, and like Tammy was kind of involved in it because it's something that we weren't friends, and then things escalated, and then there's boys involved. Because, you know, I'm gonna give you guys a little like cliffhanger here, but Bethany ended up going after the guy that I really liked. And it was just an ongoing thing, you know. Brittany did it too, even if it's just to play around if I liked a guy. I mean, she would go up to him and hold hands with him. I mean, these girls were very much more like, not shy like I was. I was a very close kid. I was very shy and awkward, and you know, I feel like the duff of the situation, because I will never like not give credit where credit's due, you know. Brittany and Bethany were both very beautiful girls, and you know, I was like the chubbier one in the friend group, you know, so it was a lot of negativity friendships. So I'm gonna cut the story here. So if you guys want to be back tomorrow for part 2, I'll have that up for you guys. So it's just a little cliffhanger, and you guys get to hear all about Bethany and Brittany and everything. And if you guys want to hear the story of how I met them and things like that, make sure to comment that below. But I just want to hit like the part 2 of what happened with those other 2 best friends, because I'm sure you guys are like, how were these your best friends? How did you have somebody else's best friend? How did that happen? But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the story. I know it was random, but I just thought it was a funny story because I thought it was my fault that her car got like throw things at, but it was really her little sister. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow in part 2. Don't forget to keep your eyes out for it. Bye guys.